Camo frowns when he realizes that the greatest weapon in a hunter's arsenal is patience, waiting for the right moment to serve the killing blow. When your prey is distracted, you strike, thinks Camo while hanging onto the ceiling, waiting to attack his opponent. He is currently present at Orcus Station 5 under the command of Sabertooth. Camo launches at Sabertooth while he's munching on his other opponents.
Guess he's Biclops now,
says Sabertooth.
Well, look who's here,
he adds as he looks around with his bloodied hands, grabs Camo by his neck, and says,
I'm impressed. You almost had me. Guess I'm the best there is,
he says cockily while lifting Camo in the air. This Sabertooth is introduced as Victor Creed, the top dog.
Even got the scent right.
No one would know it wasn't the runt.
Bet your thoughts even sound like his,
says Sabertooth as Camo grows feathers. Victor Creed goes on to explain that he's still trying to figure out how Camo is doing it. It's more than just mimicry. It's like Camo is rewiring Victor's mind.
This will definitely let you slip past Krakoa's defenses long enough to get us on the island,
says Creed.
I was holding back. In a real fight, I would have cut your throat,
responds Camo.
You tried that once. Remember how long it took you to grow those pretty feathers back?
Creed spits out. Cow, the Sentinel of Tyranny, joins in. Enough already. We've honed our skills against every mutant against countless dimensions, even our own. Pretty boy, your X-Men were built for their close-ups, not for close combat. Savage Sabertooth explains that as their leader just demonstrated on Cyclops here, they have been hearing so much about how tough his dimension's mutants are, but he won't let the others loose. Savage is sick of it. Meanwhile, Pretty Boy adds that we've got the way to sneak into this Krakoa. He's claiming it was such a rough place. He can't put this off any longer.
Creed, we're ready,
he shouts.
I'll tell you when we're ready. Until then, just sit there and clean your paws,
says Creed angrily. He continues to say,
everyone to their stations. We're riding out. Let's get this party started.
At the North Pole, Tom tells his buddies that he has bad news to share, and it's a bit of a bad way to start the day. Kid Omega uses telepathy to talk to Tom. You gotta stop shouting down there, Wicker Man. I'm one of the most powerful telepaths who ever lived, so let's turn the crime down. Tell me what's up. Tom tells the bad news. It's Krakoa, the mutants dancing across the sands, and because of that, it's not a safe place for them to be. Tom wants to call Logan, but Kid Omega tells him to wait, as he wants to take point on this. Your mind is as powerful as they come, but that island is surrounded by stealthy sentinels. Logan can't show it, but he thinks of you as one of his cubs. He'd rather skewer you before letting you go alone, says Trevor. Kid Omega smirks and says, don't tell him just yet, Lord Summerisle. Let me prove I can handle it. I'll be faster than you can say, not the bees. At Station 5, Creed is approaching Krakoa. Creed's informants tell him that the readings are unusual, and the island itself is about the only mutant signature they're picking up.
You mean the island is deserted?
Asks Creed. Yes, but it's also surrounded, responds Savage. They decide to head cloaked in their spaceship. As they reach the island, they realize that this is not how the island looked when Camo was a prisoner. Until they decide to look at the personal cloaking device for the landing party as they land on the ground. Creed realizes that the robots aren't attacking him, so he says,
those Tonka toys haven't lit us or the ship up. We're using Orcus tech, so I'm thinking those robots are on the same side.
As they venture through the island, they realize that people cleared out in a rush and that whatever happened on Krakoa wasn't sweet. The mutants didn't just decide to leave, they fled in a hurry.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
Asks Creed.
Something is coming. Mutants, powerful. If we can't kill all the mutants, let's at least kill one.
He finishes. All the other savage Sabertooths are ready to attack what's approaching and put an end to it as soon as it reaches the island, like their leader, Victor Creed. Kid Omega reaches the island and fights off the robots who sense the threat approaching. Cavalry is here, says Kid Omega as he punches through robots. He thinks to himself, they're using some kind of psionic scrambler. Can't think straight. These Stark Sentinels are an upgrade. As he gets attacked, he notices someone calling down for help from below, but he soon realizes what he has gotten himself into. Is that? It can't be. I told Black Tom I could handle this.
Get me out of here, kid!
Yells Creed, portraying himself as an innocent person stranded on the island. Kid Omega lands on the island swiftly and realizes he's been caught.
Got him!
yells Creed as he uses his claws to puncture Kid Omega's neck. Creed teleports back into the spaceship, where they feed onto him and cheer on having new prey. In the North Pole, minutes ago to midnight, and not in Krakoa anymore, the tropical beaches and golden sunshine are long gone. So is any sense of safety. As Akihiro walks through a blizzard, she senses prey arriving, and someone puts an end to it before he can. It's Logan. Logan points his claws at Akihiro, saying he could have killed Akihiro before he knew Logan was here. "Settle down. We're at the end of the world. Nobody knows to look for us here," says Akihiro as he shoves Logan aside.
Don't ever think that way. There's a lot of folks depending on you to keep them safe, Akihiro. Plus, I don't want nothing to happen to my boy,
says Logan while patting Akihiro's shoulder. Your boy? Nothing makes you appreciate family like mutants being hunted to the point of extinction, I guess. But I'll take it, says Akihiro while giving a slight smile. Take it, says Wolverine as he pats Akihiro's head and tells him that he's heading out to make rounds.
If you could skin and butcher that caribou for me, I'll circle back and bring it to the mess hall,
he adds. As Wolverine heads back his way, Akihiro says for Logan to stick around another few minutes, and it's almost midnight.
Remember what I said about staying frosty,
says Wolverine as he heads back inside. They had more than a home in Krakoa. They had a nation, a family, both biological and chosen. Akihiro, Laura, Coot, Xavier, Jean, Sage, Quentin. Together, all of them had a shot at, no other word for it, happiness. Creed was thrown in the pit. Wolverine's greatest enemy from almost as far back as he can remember at every point of Logan's life. Sabertooth was part of the worst of it. For once in his very long life, Logan doesn't have that constant creeping dread that Creed is just over his shoulder, ready to wreak havoc. That all came crashing down when Orcus attacked the Hellfire Gala, and most of the Mutant Kings ended up dead or exiled. The North Pole base, the greenhouse, is all that remains, and Wolverine is trying his best to protect it. As he heads to Sage, he asks,
"Any news from the kid?"
No, but that's not uncommon for him. Courtesy and communication are not Quentin's strong points, says Sage while looking through her computer.
How's the perimeter looking?
He continues to ask. Another quiet night. I've got organic sensors out for miles, including algae and lichen dusting the snow and stone. Nobody's getting close to the greenhouse without Black Tom knowing it, says Sage while pointing at him. Nothing but wind and white out there, and it's only gonna get worse with a blizzard rolling in, she adds. Sage asks Wolverine if he's worried about something, and he tells her that there's no reason as he leaves. He thinks to himself that Creed was banished to the pit in the dark belly of Krakoa. Supposedly he's still there, but for a short time, Wolverine had been dragged down to the same prison. His memories are ragged. Wolverine knows his stain was there, like a nightmare programmed into the island's DNA, but he doesn't recall encountering him. Otherwise, it's enough to make Wolverine paranoid, especially on these kinds of nights. Sabertooth has this sick tradition of bringing Wolverine pain on his birthday. Meanwhile, outside their abode, there stands Sabertooth and his buddies, ready to bring another year's worth of sorrow to Wolverine. Creed brings out a machine and writes in a code. After doing so, he lifts it in the air, and it seems to be a laser, which alerts Tom. Sage also realizes as her eyes go purple, but she can't seem to do anything. Laura discusses the specs on the Stark Sentinels, and to stage an assault on Orcus, they'd need support. Laura notices something odd. I know you're there. Why are you creeping around? Asks Laura. Wolverine steps in, telling her that he's just doing the rounds. Wolverine seems to want to say something. Something wrong? What's eating you? Asks Laura.
When I left X-Force, I know you probably didn't want the job because of me, but you took it anyway, and you saved a lot of asses,
says Wolverine. Okay, where is this coming from? Asks Laura.
If something happens to me, it's gotta be you, Laura. It's gotta be you who doesn't just take my place, but does it better than I ever could've,
says Wolverine. You're being weird, but hold on, I got something for you, says Laura, and she lifts a gift. But Wolverine is nowhere to be seen. He has already left. As Akihiro butchers the meat, he thinks about his relationship with Logan. Logan and I, we've had our rough spots. That's probably an understatement. We've both done terrible stuff to each other, which is more accurate. Things were okay in Krakoa, but something about that place. I don't know. It felt like forging a tight bond. Now, it's different. Right now, we actually need each other. Not just me and him, but all of us. Do you know what I mean? Asks Akihiro from his buddy. He doesn't respond as he looks back. Akihiro sees his buddy being ripped apart. The bloodbath has begun. Creed and his lackeys have arrived.
It's midnight, and you know what that means. I'm here to give the runt a gift he'll never forget,
says Creed as he launches at Akihiro. Akihiro fights with all his might. Later, after being done with his rounds, Wolverine heads outside to check if Akihiro is done butchering, but sees that Akihiro is the one who got butchered. At the North Pole, just outside X-Force HQ, Wolverine is going insane after seeing what has happened to Akihiro.
You've got murder on your mind,
says Creed while smirking.
Blood for blood. You want so bad to pay me back, but it ain't gonna happen,
says Creed. Creed wrote happy birthday using the bloodied limbs of Akihiro, and Wolverine won't let that slide as he goes through Creed's men, putting an end to them one by one. All of Creed's men launch at Wolverine at once, making him unable to move properly.
I made a promise before you tossed me in that pit. A promise of pain,
says Creed as he looks down on Wolverine being attacked. Wolverine threatens to kill Creed, but Creed just laughs it off while picking his teeth.
I'm here to make good on that promise,
he continues.
I'll kill all of you,
yells Wolverine while being attacked by Creed's underlings. Creed goes on to say that the pain Wolverine is feeling is just about to get worse when he realizes that he can't do anything about it. Creed and his team head inside to kill every last one of the team holed inside the snow fort.
Been busy since we last saw each other, destroying worlds. Killed me a whole lot of weak-ass Wolverines, and enlisted me in an army, a Sabertooth army. Collected some things along the way. In one world, your old buddy Omega Red was sporting some adamantium tentacles.
As his underlings tie up Wolverine, one of Creed's men suggests killing Wolverine now, but Creed wants Wolverine to suffer while watching his loved ones die.
The runt's gonna live a while longer. Nobody knows we're here, so we swarm in and kill them all. I want the runt to hear the screams of the dying. I want him to smell the torn livers and bloody entrails of his friends. I want to break him,
he explains. Inside the dome, Laura's friends say, I can't believe you wrapped him a gift. That seems so un-Wolverine-y. She asks how old Logan is anyway, and Laura expresses that he's very old. She continues to show a design of the Stark Sentinel. It feels a little weird to be making plans because they're talking about the future. Up until recently, they weren't sure they had one. Hey, Laura, look who's back. Guess you can give him that birthday gift after all, says Domino as she heads to leave the duo alone. And as she is about to leave, she gets thwacked in the head by Wolverine. Laura sniffs.
Who are you? I can be anyone you want me to be,
says Wolverine.
Whose face do you want to look into as you die?
Says Creed cockily while revving up his attack. You're Creed, but you're not Creed, says Laura as she lands a blow on Creed.
I'm one of many,
says Creed. As Laura revs up an attack, she asks how many.
So many,
responds Creed as a bunch of them attack Laura. Laura asks Sage and Tom for help, but they seem to be under hypnosis because of the laser that was shot earlier. Laura is eager to hear a response, but nothing is heard. Can anyone hear me? Asks the desperate Laura. Meanwhile, the underlings of Creed head to where Sage and Tom are and get ready to put an end to their lives. While another Wolverine is sleeping, the Creeds put an end to his life. As Wolverine hangs atop the dome to watch what's happening to the others, he realizes that he has failed. He has failed Quentin and Akihiro, and now he's failing the rest of them. Wolverine wishes he could swallow all their screams and make them his own. Creed puts an end to the mutant kids in the dome.
You finally get a taste of courage with your little underground rebellion. And then we show up. Now there's no more hope. Only pain and hate and rage,
says Creed as he puts an end to multiple mutant kids in the present. A girl cries.
What's wrong? Did I hurt your friends?
asks Creed as he's about to attack her as well. But Aurora catches the girl and runs with Northstar. She tells him that it's -40 outside and there's nowhere to run. "We won't run, we fight," says Northstar as they head into the control room where Sage and Tom are. As the Creeds are about to kill them, Northstar and Aurora step in, putting an end to the Creeds' lives. "These are killing machines, robots made of meat. Don't hold back," says Northstar. Wolverine can hear bones breaking and lungs choking on blood. He can smell the coppery stink of slaughter, but he can feel it too. He can feel it like a sickness. Resurrection is over. There's no coming back. Creed already took Quentin and Akihiro. Everyone else in the greenhouse is next, including Laura. As Wolverine frees himself from the ropes, he thinks to himself that his bones might be sleeves with adamantium, but his joints are made of meat and meat shreds. So he frees himself from the ropes by cutting off his own arms and feet. He falls to the ground as Pretty Boy and Savage fight Laura. She uses all her might to fight them off. Savage grabs onto Laura's face, but Domino shoots Savage off. Laura manages to behead both Savage and Pretty Boy, but she gets attacked by 2 others instead. After fighting off the robots, Northstar tries to bring Sage and Tom back on track. "What's wrong with them? They're in some sort of trance," says Aurora. "Let's overtax their systems with our energy. See if we can force a restart," says Aurora as she does so, and it works. "What's this then? I feel like my whole body's a cotton-mouthed whiskey nap," says Tom. Sage asks Northstar and Aurora for a report. They tell him that they're under attack, and they can't say for sure, but dozens are dead, and close to 50 soldiers are under their roof. They are Sabertooths, or maybe even clones. Tom goes into his chair, and they start calling up a genetic profile of Creed. "I need you to treat this presence like a virus. The body of the greenhouse needs to destroy and expel him like a swarm of white blood cells," says Sage as she activates the greenhouse. Wolverine beats through the ranks in search to find Laura. "Please, don't let it be too late. Laura!"